Okay, this is the video for Module 7 Organic Chemistry, homework number 2, products of reaction involving hydrocarbons. Okay, so the first multiple choice, the following molecule is reacted with bromine water. What would be the expected product? Okay, so we can see this is propene, and then due to the presence of the double bond, we have bromine addition, right? So B will be the right answer. You might also wonder that C will be the right answer. Yeah, this is I would think this is a typo for this question because B and C are just the same molecule, right? Question 2. Okay, by the way, so when addition of double bond, make sure that you connect the thing that you add onto it on two carbons on each side of the double bond. Okay, do not attach the two atoms on a single carbon, right? They have to be across the double bonds. Which of the following reaction conditions favors the hydration of alkenes? Right? We would want a dilute acid, right? Dilute sulfuric acid, and we want a moderate temperature. You could also choose high temperature because we do have like a large temperature for it, but it doesn't. We don't want the temperature to be so large because secretly the hydration of alkene is exothermic, right? In a sense that if you have high temperature environments, the equilibrium is like not driving the reaction forward, right? So we want to have enough temperature for reaction rate, right? So moderate temperature is good. You don't want it to be too cold, right? Because then the reaction rate is literally non-existent. So you pretty much not react to anything. So you want like a moderate temperature, not too high, not too low. Question 3. When reacting a hydrogen halide with an unsaturated hydrocarbon, the halogen atom tends to attach um, to the more substituted carbon. This is known as the Markovnikov rule, yeah? In class, we introduced like a little bit different version of this definition. We were talking about how a polar functional group are more likely to be attached to a carbon with less hydrogen initially attached onto that carbon, okay? So the chemical mechanism here is outside of the syllabus, so you can sort of guess, right? And C will be the right answer. The halogen reacts with more stable intermediates. So if the carbon has less hydrogen on it, it is like more stable for halogen to be attached on it. Because halogens are usually electronegative. If there are a lot of electrons surrounding it, it's more like stable, right? If the carbon is connected with more like substituted atoms, it's more electron than hydrogen, so it gets more stable. Question 4. Which of the following does not contribute to a successful halogenation reaction of an alkane? Okay, so yeah, concentrated acidic catalyst, if you know this is for dehydration and then it doesn't do anything, okay? The reaction to convert an alkene into alkane is hydration, right? Sorry, hydrogenation, and then you add hydrogen gas to it, and then with a nickel catalyst belt, okay? Oh, wait, what? I think no, this is wrong. Okay, so yeah, so we should have hydrogenation as well. Hydrogenation is our reactant will be hydrogen gas. The catalyst is actually the palladium and carbon. Okay, so it will be D. Sorry about this. Question 6. What is the major product formed when one butene reacts with HCl? It will be that. Okay, so trivial. Yeah, so question 7, 2 bottles of bromine water were added with alkane and alkene respectively. Which of the following roles correctly states the intermediate outcome of each reaction? So yeah, so for alkane, we don't have any UV light, so here we have no reaction, so no substitution reaction. But for alkene, we have rapid decolorization due to addition reaction, okay? Okay, coming next, alkanes are unreactive hydrocarbons which can only react with chlorine in the presence of UV light. Okay, which of the following roles correctly identifies the product and the role of UV light in a reaction between methane and excess chlorine? So we would have UV light as a reaction condition, so it's not a catalyst, right? It's not something you can add, but it is like a reaction condition, right? And we have excess chlorine, so this substitution reaction can just keep happening until you substitute all the hydrogens on the carbon chain. Question 9. Complete the reaction below. State and draw the name of starting compound, reagent, catalyst, and product. If more than one product forms, draw the major product. Okay, so we start with this thing, which is 1-methyl cyclohexane hex 1-in, right? So it's a cycler, 1-in, and then 1-methyl. We have a double bond, so this is hydrohalogenation, it's an addition reaction. So yeah, that's the chemical equation. You form a major product. Remember that the Br is more likely to be attached to the carbon here. This carbon has no hydrogen to it, and then has a lot of carbons surrounding it. So by the Markovnikov's rule, this will be the major product. The other one will be the minor product. Okay, so the name for them is like 1-bromo. So this carbon is the first one. 1-methyl. So that's another functional group. Cyclohexane. Right. Similarly with this, 1-bromo, 2-methyl. So that's on the second carbon. Okay, so they are position isomers. Question B, we've got a starting compound of this thing, which is 3-methyl but 1-in, and we react with hydrogen bromide to form this thing, right? Because you can see how this is just double bond has been cancelled, and then we've got bromine attached, so we use hydrohalogenation for this, okay? Yeah, so that's the reaction. Similarly, we use Markovnikov's rule, and the naming should be quite straightforward. Okay, so if there's any question, let me know. We can go through this in class. In continuation, we've got question C. So we want our final product to be this thing, right? So it clearly indicates some sort of hydration, right? Also the catalyst as well. We use the dilute sulfuric acid at moderate temperature. So it would just add water, moderate temperature, and also this is a asymmetrical addition reaction. So we've got 2 possible products, and then the major one will be the one that's attached to the carbon with less hydrogen on it. And then the naming should be quite straightforward as well. We don't have to name this, but after you learn alcohol, you should be able to name them. Okay, so just by the way, the name of this is 1-methyl cyclor hex and 1-O. Okay. Okay, so and then D, we've got that, and then we can see how we have hydrogen gas as reactant, and we have platinum and on carbon as the catalyst. So this is clearly hydrogenation reaction. So it turns into alkene into an alkane. Okay. So the next one, this is clearly again hydrohalogenation. Very similar. Okay. So it should be quite straightforward. And for this one, it's again chlorination. So it's just we have like 4 chlor attached to the first carbon and the second carbon. All right, so this would corresponding to an alkyne. So you want to substitute twice. Okay, so once you get this, and twice you get another 2 atoms of chlorine attached. Okay, yeah. So this one is a bit tricky. Take some thinking. Okay, so you have to use an alkyne for this. Substitute it for twice. Okay. So the next part is this thing, and we've got that as the final product. We only have the double bond broken, so this is clearly a hydrogenation reaction. And I choose nickel as my catalyst. You could also do platinum on carbon, that's fine. So B, obviously we've got halogenation, so we need a double bond in between those 2 carbons. So yeah, there it is. Okay, so question 1. Starting compound, right? We have 3-methyl but 1-in, which is that, right? So 1, 2, 3, 3-methyl but 1-in. That's double bond on the first carbon. Of course, that's a dilute sulfuric acid. So we're doing hydration reaction forming alcohols. Okay. Similarly, Markovnikov's rules will still apply, right? Okay. So coming next, question 10. We've got some alkene, which is labeled as A, and react with hydrogen bromide and form B. Okay. So draw the structural formula for compound B. So compound B would be the isomer that also forms, right? So that's of the major products. So it will be the minor product, which where this Br is attached to a different carbon. So it's asking for structural formula. We have to do this, right? So why is B the major product? So just sort of explain the define Markovnikov's rule. The addition here is asymmetric. With Markovnikov's rule, the polar atom is more likely to be attached to the carbon with less hydrogen to start with. In this case, bromine is more likely to be attached to the second carbon. Okay, 1, 2, second carbon. Sorry, 1, 2, the second carbon here. Okay, because this carbon originally has only one hydrogen on. Has 0 hydrogen on top of it, so it's more likely. Continue question 11. This bunch of reaction, hydrogenation, right, and bromination, right, hydrobromination, major and minor, and then there's an alkyne with 2 additional reactions in a row. So yeah, so these should be quite straightforward. If you have problems with this, ask me during class. Okay. Explain why the structure you have drawn in part B is the major product. So this one, yeah. So this is once again very similar to the way you would answer for question B. So it's kind of repetitive, right? So just do that. And what property are required in a solvent? So this one is a bit special. So we know that for reaction C, everything is sort of non-polar, except for this one, maybe a bit polar, but it's fine. So we want to use some solvent that is non-polar. Okay, so we can't just use water because water is polar. We want to use something else. Okay, so we are dealing with non-polar substances such as this thing and that. So we need to use a non-polar solvent. Well, in this case, we want to use something called like heptane. There's many different choices, or heptane is like the easiest one that you can pick from now. Later on, you should know there's more non-polar solvents such as acetone, tetrafluoromethane, right? Tetrachloromethane as well. Like they're all pretty good solvents for non-polar substances. Okay. So question 12, hydrobromic acid, again, hydrogenation, we have 2 products, a major and a minor, very repetitive stuff. So this one goes little bit beyond the syllabus, but let you think about the chemical mechanism. So electrophiles are chemicals that are has high tendency to accept electron from another molecule and form covalent bonds. Explain why hydrogen halides such as HBr are good hydrogen electrophiles. Okay, so within HBr, we know that bromine is a quite electronegative compared to hydrogen, so we form a very polar molecule. So the electron-rich functional groups, such as the double bond, right? So double bond has like 4 electrons, just very dense in this region. So that means bromine is very likely to like sort of attract the electrons in these unsaturated bonds and therefore sort of establish a bond. Right. So this is why it's like very good electrophiles. Okay, being able to disturb electron configuration in a molecule. So continue, question C, another bromination reaction. And then question D, describe how 2,2-dibromopropane can be synthesized as a major product from another 3-hydrocarbon. From another hydrocarbon, this 3 should be a typo. State the name for hydrocarbon, right? So we know how so the corresponding reactant will be a 3-carbon propene, right? So something like this, right? Which would react with that and form this thing or this thing. So we wanted this thing, right? Yeah, and we want the major product. So the addition here is asymmetric and use Markovnikov's rule, justify that this is major, and this is how we form it. Okay, so you have to sort of, based on what you want to form, be able to draw the structure of this and figure the reactant. Okay, figure out the reactant using stuff you know. Later on, we'll have more options with more functional groups. Okay. Question 13, another repetitive addition reaction. And then identify the types of reaction occurring. A will be addition reaction, and then the name of the product. So question C says to write a reaction of the substitution reaction using UV light of alkane. So we should have this as well. So this is UV-induced halogen size. Explain why this test must be conducted in the absence of UV light. So absence of UV light means UV light doesn't present. Okay, so yeah, you just need to talk about, we have to distinguish between alkanes and alkenes, right? Remember the bromine water test? With alkenes, it rapidly changes color, but with alkanes, it doesn't change color. We have to ensure that UV light is out of sight, so that alkanes definitely do not change color. Because if UV lights are present, there's a chance that alkanes can just decolorize as well. So in order to compare the reactivity of double bonds and a single bond validly, we need to get rid of UV light as a control variable. Okay. So I just mentioned valid. Okay. Validity in this valid test. Okay. So that's that. Lastly, we have challenging question. So this one assesses the oxidation and reduction in organic substances. So in organic substance, it doesn't change. So oxidation is still losing electron, reduction is gaining electron. Okay, it's always that and does not change. But in terms of organic substance, we always focus on the oxidation state of a particular carbon or a particular atom, right? So yeah, and there's many different ways to tell that if the carbon has been oxidized or reduced. Okay, and then we have 4 reactions here, and then we have some rules given, and then just based on those rules, we can be able to determine this. Okay, we will have a look at this, especially when we talk about alcohol oxidations in the future. But the general rule is that every bond to a different carbon does not change the oxygen state as in exact balance. Every bond to a hydrogen, it decreases oxygen state, because you can sort of think about that the electrons being shared. It's kind of like you're gaining more electron. But every bond to an electronegative element sort of attracts electron away from it. It's kind of like to be oxidized. Yeah, so the first one will be a combustion reaction. Second one will be hydrogenation. The third one will be bromination. The fourth one will be an oxidation reaction, but we haven't seen this before. B, where possible, identify species that are being oxidized in each reaction. So first one, we see how carbon ends up with bonding with oxygen, and hydrogen ends up with bonding with oxygen. So both carbon and hydrogen are being oxidized, but oxygen are being reduced. Okay, so you can use the similar trend, and then okay, so in the second reaction, we just have more hydrogens on each carbon, so carbon's being reduced, and hydrogen's being oxidized. Okay, the other way around. So the third reaction is the carbons are being oxidized because they bonded with a electronegative atom. And the fourth reactions, the carbon 1 and 2 are being oxidized. Okay. Question 15. This one assesses a much more advanced addition reaction. It's called cycloaddition. Right? So we form a ring. Okay. You need 3 double bonds. And then so the idea is we need to relocate those electrons. Okay. So we could understand the mechanism by sort of just drawing this picture, right? Let's temporarily split the double bonds into those dotted electrons. Okay. Dotted electrons as well. And then we redistribute them. Okay. So those two electron correspond to double bonds, and then one of this electron gets to form a bond with this electron. One of this gets to form a bond with this electron. However, we have 2 more electrons left over, so that establishes a double bond. It will be something like this. Okay. So you form a ring. And I'll name 4-chloro-1-cyclohexene. And the next part of this question wants us to compare this thing and this thing in terms of physical properties. Okay, so both molecules are polar, but observing the geometry and location of the carbons, right? So this one is much bulkier than compared to this thing. Okay, so therefore the intermolecular force would be more effective here. Right? They have a big difference in intermolecular force, which contributes a little bit to to the dispersion force as well. But it's really not quite important here. They're just pretty much non-polar. Okay, so the melting point boiling point would be higher for this one because it's a higher, it's a less bulky structure. So more energy is required, blah, blah, blah. So both are still relatively weak and polar properties, so they do not dissolve in water, both of them. Both are not conductive too. Okay, so yeah, relatively short for chemistry. Compared to physics. If you were to do physics, it's longer, it's 40 minutes. Okay, so this is it. I'll see you in the next booklet. Hopefully I've recorded this session. Yes, I did.